warned you this would happen if you stayed tuned. I'm Mark Mills. Thank you for joining us today. This is the Florida Keys Real Estate Guys. Here in Monroe County, we have A-rated schools. That's as good as it gets. And we're going to find out how that happened, because this is, after all, the place we lovingly referred to as, well, Vacation Island, the land of misfit toys, that type of thing. So the Keys has a reputation, but our schools have a better reputation. Sitting next to me is John Dick, who is a member of the Monroe County School Board. John, we're going to get to you in just a couple of minutes. Folks, we are broadcasting from a new location today. This is the Masonic Lodge in Tavernier, Florida. You can see behind me a load of boxes. Those boxes are being prepped and sent to the Bahamas, to the Hurricane Dorian Relief Fund that we've got going on, and it's still happening here at the Masonic Lodge in Tavernier, 284 Tavernier Street in the Upper Keys of the Florida Keys. So if you want to continue to donate, pitch in, do your part for the folks who basically took the bullet that was aimed for Florida. It was a tough one, but, it's our job to, pitch in. We've been there. We've done this. So if you have a mind to it, baby wipes, water, non-perishable food items. And actually, I'm going to point back at Harry in a moment, and we'll get the address where people can, or how they can go about donating money, because the Masons here will go out and buy the things that are necessary on the shopping list for the folks in Abaco, and I think it's Grand Bahama. Is that it, both those places?
Abaco and Grand Bahama, yes,
cool,
sir.
Yeah. So, Harry, do you have that information on how can they donate money here?
If they will just go to the radioa1a.com, front of the site right there, Our engineer Dewey Ingstrom has placed a beautiful icon there for you to just click and donate, and 100% of, Facebook charges a little credit card fee or something, but very small, 1 or 2%. But the rest of it, 100%, goes to get the generators up and going for a soup kitchen / canteen, where they're going to be serving hot meals to the residents and also the first responders.
Now, if you think about it, folks, this is a place where hot meals.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they haven't happened in a long time.
Yes.
So electricity, water, still doesn't exist over there unless you've got a generator. So the Hurricane Dorian Bahamas Relief Fund still very active here at the Masonic Lodge in Tavernier. We would appreciate you getting on board. Go to the radioa1a.com webpage and check it out there. Speaking of the webpage and that sponsorship thing that makes radio possible, we want to thank Jenny Pinnell and the ladies of the come on, Mark, your brain, where's it?
Sunshine Title.
Sunshine Title of the Florida Keys at mile marker 103. The damn Alzheimer's, man, I'm telling you. It's just, it's actually that stroke. But, what stroke was that? I don't remember. It was so long ago. But, okay, you got to make light of some of these things, especially when you're doing it live on television and radio.
That is an amazing bunch of ladies at that time.
It is. Company. They're awesome. And Mykael and I like to refer to them as no surprise closings, because the last thing that any real estate agent wants is that surprise. Hey, we don't have their funds. We don't have this. We didn't get an inspection. So, and that just plain doesn't happen at Sunshine Title. So Ginny and her crew have gotten us through so many closings that we're just tickled pink about them, and we highly recommend them to all. Our new sponsor, Jim LaPointe, local lender, Key Largo guy. His rates are, I think he's got a mob connection. I'm not sure, but the rates are incredible. Which would probably keep him from being a mob connection, tell you the truth, but all these things being what they are. Go to radioa1a.com to the webpage. His rates are posted there fresh every week, and I think right now it's like 3.3%, and your credit score doesn't have to be but maybe 680 or 700, something like that. So,
and that's no closing cost, by the way. That's in and out without any any necessary.
No points, no fees, no nada.
That's right.
So, it's a pretty good deal. Also, to the Now, what's the new one here? Cuban Crime of Passion. That's the latest in the Chip Bell series of Jake Sullivan crime novels. And you can the guy's got about 30 of them, and they're great, quick reads. The perfect beach read. Also coming out on audiobooks pretty quick from Amazon. But go to, again, the radioa1a.com webpage and click on the guy under the palm tree with a gun, and that'll give you all the information on Chip Bell.
Flash, just an announcement from Chip Bell last night. He has now published the latest number 15 in the series, and that is called Gypsies in the Palace.
See, now, and that's got to be a newer Buffett title.
Gypsies in the Palace is a song from probably the 80s, maybe.
Oh, thanks.
Well,
right, yeah.
Our listeners will tell us. They're experts.
That damn stroke is leaving blank spots in my head again. But so moving right along, we've got all that stuff. Always, like we say, go to the webpage, check out those interest rates, and check out Chip Bell's latest in his series of crime novels. Good stuff. Now, we have moved to a new location since Dorian blew through town, and we are no longer at mile marker 81 in Alamorada. We moved up to Tavernier. Key Largo guy, I'm happy about that. My commute has been altered considerably, so I'm always tickled pink when paradise improves itself, and in this case, that is happening. With me today, and this is really cool because I remember, John, thank you so much for coming on board. When you first ran for school board, I tried, we were huddling, wringing our hands at Clear Channel, trying to think of, way to kind of grab the microphone and then drop it, of course, at a debate with candidates for the school board. Yeah. And I remember asking you if Sandy Biseglia had been dumped for a minority hire. And, I got like half a dozen, I think you were up there with 3 different candidates. And, the other 3, the first 2. The first 2 kind of did this polishing the pew thing, like your kid in church, little squirmy was going on, And then, I go to John. Same question to you, John. Blah 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 blah, and you went yes. Holy cow! This guy just told me the truth. Unbelievable. So, and then of course, whoever was sitting on your right side said, "Yeah, me too." But fortunately enough, you won that seat. That is, you are serving your 3rd term now.
Actually, I'm actually in my 4th. I made a mistake. I'm just started my 4th term. You're right. Yeah.
Well,
it was that stroke that I didn't have either that made me tell you that there was 3.
Yeah, those years start to add up, and the snow on the roof and all that crap, right? Yeah, I get it. But okay, so you're into your 4th term now at school board, and we did talk a little bit before the show about it's funny if you look back how many members of our current House of Representatives and United States senators actually served on school boards at one time. The numbers are quite high. Yeah, because it's where a lot of people who wind up going up there, start out their public service.
Well, I might have started out on the school board, but I'm going to end on the school board. Before you go anywhere, I don't like the direction there.
Good idea.
I'm staying on the school board.
Yeah, get out before the waters get too deep, right? How is it that you got on the school board? I mean, I know you won an election, but what motivated you to do that?
You know what happened? We moved down here in 1989, and then my wife applied she's a teacher, to get a job in the school district, and we came from Long Island in New York, and that's a
great public
top-notch school district. All right, and we didn't expect to have the same thing here. We knew, and we felt we had 3 children, but only 2 were still going to school.
Right.
and I felt that we'd have to supplement their education a bit and all that. But so anyway, my wife applied for the teacher's job, and she was given the art teacher's job at Marathon High School.
Wow.
She was not, that wasn't her certification, but the art
Right.
teacher had left, and so they said, take it as an emergency, and she then got certified in art. She took the
Right.
classes and all that.
Right.
But anyway, the thing is, they brought her into a room, and the teacher's desk is in the front, and she told me how it was. They opened up the top drawer, and there was a couple of pencils and 2 or 3 crayons, and they said, "Here's your art supplies."
Whoa.
You know,
boy.
and so I'm saying, wow, well, there's things are that bad here. And then, of course, we didn't have the internet then now to
Right.
find out, but I started calling the district, the state and this and finding out, they'd send me these books about the funding and all this. And I'm saying, something's not right here. I mean,
Yeah.
they're getting more money than they used to, the people in the school district, and everybody used to believe it. They would say, we get the least amount of money in the state. And it was a funny way they said that, because what they were saying is the state of Florida doesn't give us much money. It comes from our own taxpayers.
Right.
But in reality, the school district, whether it came from the state or the local taxpayers, they were getting the most money of any district in the state of Florida on a
right?
per-student basis. Of
Wow.
course, they don't get more than Miami-Dade, but
Right.
per student, they were getting way more. And so I started, going to school board meetings and talking and saying, well, you guys get a lot more. You get this. And I kind of started to irk them and change things around. And
Don't piss off a guy from Brooklyn.
and
right?
then Marathon High School, I went to this because we live in Marathon, and I went to the school advisory council, and it was all women, and I was the only guy there. And they said, "Well, next year you should be the school advisory chairman." The last thing I needed to be doing, but I didn't come here to get involved in the schools. And believe me, there's some people in my family that if they knew, they're buried. If they knew I was on the school board, they'd be coming out of their graves. What are you doing on the school board? So, but
That's classic. I love that. Yeah.
But it's and then after doing that for a while, it's haunted, and
Yeah, it is.
And then I went, people said, "Well, John, let's get you on the school board." So I did. I ran the campaign, and it was successful, and it's always been successful. And,
So far, so good.
and it's been, it's been very interesting and very fulfilling in ways. We've had a lot of, troubling issues in the first.
There's been some ups and downs. Yeah, understood.
Then of course the normal problems that hit, and then now we have school safety is a big issue.
Sure.
So
and that is a bridge. That's a wide bridge, man. There's a 7-mile bridge right there.
Yeah.
When you think about it, because when you first got on the school board, as I remember, that was about the time that the Aceveda debacle came about.
Yeah, it was.
And talk about jumping into the fire.
Yeah, it was a tough time, and it was not fun, and it was a lot of heated discussions, and we were on the losing end of a lot of votes, and so we kept on putting the word out, and the newspapers kept writing stories, and radios kept talking about what was going on, and finally swayed and we'd get a third vote, and then next thing the thing broke.
Yeah,
and
you feel like, can you do a head check that the district has recovered or is still mid-stride in recovering that?
Oh no, that's way past
way
now.
past.
I mean, there are some people that'll still talk or say something, but there's no more residual effects.
Do you think
in
the
school
trust has
district.
been reestablished?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes, it is by far.
Mm-hmm.
And let me give you an example. I could tell you a recent one. I mean, every time we've asked the community to step forward and help us, they always have. So when the school safety thing came up, where we have to have a sheriff's deputy or an officer, an armed guard in every school, including the charter schools, which go through us. We don't have much control of them, but the funding goes through us.
Right.
So I said to the superintendent, and this is only 2 years ago now, and I said to the superintendent, look, there's going to be a problem of getting these officers. We have to get them to the Key West Police Department and the Monroe County Sheriff. There's a lot of officers. They're already short officers. I said the funding, the state gives us X amount of dollars. It's nowhere near enough to pay for the cost of salaries down here. So I said, let's us take on the funding all the way. We'll pay the whole cost of every deputy for the salary and benefits of the deputies. And I said, we'll go to the taxpayers and ask them for a special,
special assessment
to add. And what I went and I said to the taxpayers, and the board agreed with me, said, okay, let's do this. And we'd be very specific about what we do with the money. We said, okay, we estimated what it would cost, and we said to the taxpayers, give us authority to go up to .0625, and we won that. It came through on the vote. It had to be voted on, and it was an astounding win. It was a very big win.
Solid win, yeah.
And then we, as I said, we'd go up to .0625. Right. As we got closer to it and more discussion with the sheriff's deputies and the Key West Police, we only took .05. So we didn't take .0625. No. We only took .05.
Smaller percentages.
And then I did say to everybody, I said, what we have to do is show the end of the year. I want to say, here's how much we collected. Yeah. Here's how much it cost. There's a little left over, whatever. Well, and we saw what we had at the end of this year because the first year ended. And now we lowered it again to .04 for this tax thing. So, but my point of is, people have come forward. They don't go back and say, "Oh, you guys had theft years ago."
Yeah, but
people
you guys
step forward for us.
Yeah, and they did step forward, and you showed them transparency.
Yeah,
yes. I mean, that's the amazing part about this, because 9 times out of 10. You ask your government, and I know this is taxpayers feel this way. I'm a taxpayer,
right?
Give us a little bit of money and we'll take care of it. And it doesn't get taken care of. Yeah. And you're pissed off. And you want to know where the money went, and they kind of look at you like, oh, well, you don't have the right to know where the money went,
And I even said, we need to do that for the charter schools because, like, for instance, you have a charter school up here, Ocean Studies Charter School.
Right.
They could not afford to have
hire a deputy on their own?
No. They couldn't have done it because it's a small school, and the amount of money would have been, detrimental.
It's got to cost what, $40,000 to $60,000 a year, doesn't it?
More than that.
Yeah.
So of course, salaries and benefits. So it's about $80,000 a year, and I think Key West is a little bit more.
Well, and the ironic thing is, that's not very much money either.
Yeah, in one way,
yeah.
And so that charter school would not have been able to afford that. And that's what I said to the superintendent. I said, they don't get the kind of money from the state to help in any way like that. The state sends money to us, to school boards. It's called the Safe Schools money, and that's the money that we had used previously to pay for sheriff's deputies, and it didn't pay for all of them anyway. When we've always had them in the high schools and in the middle schools. Well, that didn't cover enough for that. So
is the Safe Schools money passed down from the feds as part of that?
No,
so that's all state money.
It's all state money.
Yeah.
And so I think the charter school there, it goes on a head count. So we just get the money and it's divided up into each school by the amount of students. Right. And I'm going to guess that Ocean Studies charter school amount would have been about less than $10,000 for sure. Yeah. So how are they going to come up with $70,000 to pay for a deputy? And then some other charter schools are a little too small to fit with it. So it helped them out. I think they were very happy. I know Treasure Village Charter was the same way. They were very appreciative of it. And I said, look, it's all our kids. The children in this community, they're all ours.
Doesn't make any difference whether it's a charter school or a public school.
They're Monroe County students.
Yeah, same.
That's what counts. And so, but again, my point on bringing that up was really to show that the public comes forward for us. But I've always been straight with them, telling them, here's what's going on, here's what we're doing. And, they've responded.
Awesome. All right, we're going to hold right there for a moment. You are listening to the Florida Keys Real Estate Guys live on radio818.com, on a number of Facebook pages, on, A1A Media, YouTube.
And the Florida Keys Real Estate Guys.
Well, and the Florida Keys Real Estate Guys. We're everywhere. just pay attention, okay? Please like us on Facebook. We'll be right back.
I'd set sail right away, destination southern shores. Throw my cares upon a shelf, head on off for somewhere else, where the weather's always warm. Alvarado.
Jake Sullivan lies near death in a coma. His best friend Mike drives the hunt for the man who leads a criminal enterprise that could poison paradise with a chemical weapon. There's no safe harbor to be had here. Cuban Crime of Passion is the latest in the Jake Sullivan series from author Chip Bell. Available now, Cuban Crime of Passion. Check out RadioA1A.com. Click on the guy under the palm tree with the gun.
Cartel in Key West, corrupt politicians.
Hello, this is Mykael Marinelli of American Caribbean Real Estate with your Real Estate Conk featured property. Today, spotlighting 125 Venetian Drive in Islamorada. Here, you can enjoy the phenomenal Islamorada lifestyle in this just-built waterfront home. Everything's new. 3 bedrooms upstairs and a separate guest suite downstairs. Exceptional features include stunning granite kitchen, veranda, sumptuous master bath, and a homeowner's park with its rare sandy beach. This is your bucket list opportunity. For more information on this home and other power buys, contact me at 305-439-7730 and visit my award-winning Florida Keys lifestyle blog at therealestateconk.com.
Surprise! Great for a birthday, anniversary party, but a real estate transaction? That is not what you want. You don't want surprises when it comes to closing a real estate deal. The way to a smooth closing with no surprises is Sunshine Title of the Florida Keys. Call Ginny or Pam or even Irene. Hey, these 3 gals will take care of you, close your transaction smoothly with no surprises. Real estate closings, 1031 exchange, escrow, all your needs are taken care of there with no surprises. It's Sunshine Title of the Florida Keys. Call 305-451-0032 or just Google up Sunshine Title of the Florida Keys.
Florida Keys is a chain of islands known for its crystal blue waters, famous for sports fishing, world-class diving, and its laid-back atmosphere. Nestled between the Everglades National Park and the National Marine Sanctuary, the Keys are home to a precious and rare ecosystem found nowhere else. Here you will also find world-class dining featuring fresh from the dock seafood as well as other chef-prepared culinary favorites. The Florida Keys has the feel of a quaint seaside village with a laid-back vibe, taking you worlds away from everyday cares. Stunning coastal-inspired homes line the shores of the islands, offering spectacular sunset views. Whether you start your day taking in the sunrise on your oceanfront veranda or heading out on the water for an adventure, the Keys has something to offer everyone. American Caribbean Real Estate, your Christie's International Real Estate Brokerage, knows that our island lifestyle is just as important as the home, and we are prepared to match you to the right property to fit your lifestyle. As the local Christie's International Real Estate affiliate, we have the powerful backing of the network, including 1,300 offices worldwide, and the only real estate company owned by a premier auction house. This, added to our local market expertise, makes American Caribbean Real Estate the right agency to assist you in finding your piece of paradise in the Florida Keys.
There we go. Hey, all right. I'm going to say it for a third time now. The laugh is gone, of course, but when Harry hits that bumper coming in, it's like Beavis and Butthead. Not quite as funny on television, I know, but it's funnier in radio. So, welcome back to the program. Monroe County has A-rated schools across the entire county. 3 high schools, 3 middle schools, and 3 elementaries. Yes.
No, we get more than that.
Well, for starters.
Yeah.
And then, but we kept touching on charter schools, and I know that probably 10 years ago, charter schools were kind of one of those areas where people were a little nervous about them coming in, taking public money, and how was it all going to work out? Well, and your take in Monroe County, what's the verdict?
We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 charter. Well, actually, there's a collegiate high school in Key West.
Right.
There's I'm getting that thing. There was one school that was ours on the base.
Right.
What happened, and that became a charter school.
Right.
Sigsbee Charter School. And then Big Pine, which is the biggest, was the first one, not the biggest.
Right.
Actually, Sigsbee is now the biggest charter school. Big Pine, and then you've got Treasure Village up here, and you've got Ocean Studies. Ocean Studies being the smallest one. It started years ago down here in Monroe County with the Big Pine, and that was because the school district, and this was before I was on it, they had a school there, a little school, and they were saying it wasn't feasible to keep running it, and the community didn't want to send their students either to Sugarloaf or
go figure
or back to Marathon, and they raised it. And actually, it was a former school board member that helped lead the charge of that was Duncan Matheson when he was on the board.
I remember Duncan,
and he was a good friend of mine. So. He started that. I'll tell you an interesting story about the Sigsbee Charter, which is it's a school that's on the Navy base. And when I was the first term on the board, they were talking about, well, we needed to close the school in Key West because we've got too many small grammar schools. And the first school they decided to close was Glen Archer.
Right.
So I said to them, I said to the superintendent, it was actually Mr. Acevedo at the time, and I said, look, we can't just over the summer close a school and, have it open up, the school year. I said, we need to go to any community and tell them we're going to close your school.
Yeah.
And, you're going to get a lot of heat, but you need to tell people. You can't just do it in a vacuum. So we go, it's funny, we go to the Glen Archer community, and, there's a community meeting, we're going to close your school.
Yeah.
So they come in mass.
Oh, guns blazing.
We're sitting up on a dais, 5 board members and the superintendent. Now, I will personally tell you, I was the only one that didn't want to close the school.
Right.
I said, Glen Archer is that old big building.
Right.
And, where I come from in New York, that's the way buildings looked. That's the way schools looked. And it was a beautiful building. And I said,
that way.
It's we're up there. And I personally was against it, but the board had decided, and so now I'm with the board. I'm not going to be up there on the saying, well, I don't want to, I'm with them. Well, as they're talking and the people are complaining, of course, nobody comes from the community to say close it. They're all up there to don't you dare close our school. And so they started folding up on the dais one by one, the board members wound up, the quote from me in the newspaper sounded like I was the one that was the leader of going to close it. It was funny.
Yeah.
So, so they didn't, and then they said close. The school district decided the next thing we're going to go close Sigsbee, and I said, well, you got to do the same thing. You got to go to them.
Yeah.
So they didn't come quite as en masse.
Yeah.
But they were complaining, and because they saw what happened at the other school. Mm-hmm. Well, then the school district, as we're sitting up there, they started talking, and the board members said, well, you know what, why don't you just make it a charter? We'll help you. And I sat there and I said, what's wrong with this? The reason they were closing the school was because, and it's a valid reason. You close a school, put 2 together, and one, you only have one principal, one, you're saving money.
Yeah.
But now, by telling them to make it a charter, We didn't save any money.
No.
It had no effect on. Actually, we lost control of a lot of money.
Right.
But that's what they did, and they helped it become a charter,
Yeah.
and it did. It was so we went through. I've got to watch my word. Aggravating the Glen Archer community for a while, and then we aggravated the Sigsbee community. And what did the school district actually accomplish? Not a thing.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you guys? You can't.
What are you people thinking?
When you make a decision, look, if you and if your decision is right, and you got to defend it to the community. You can't just fold because everybody comes to if it was the right thing, you got to explain it.
Right.
But as it shows, it really wasn't the right thing. And then, of course, we eventually did get out of Glen Archer School because when we built the new HOB down there, we put we built a grammar school there, and then I was the one that pushed to say that's a beautiful building. It's taxpayers' entity. Let's make a deal with the city of Key West.
Sure.
And it's the mayor's, or it's their mayor's building. It's the city offices now.
A lot of these buildings that were built by WPA.
Yeah.
Back, prior to end of the Depression era.
There was WPA murals in there, and they kept them. I mean, they actually refurbished them a bit, but they kept them. They're very beautiful too.
In this short sidebar, I was just in Vegas about a month ago, and the Mob Museum is the old courthouse.
Okay,
and it is absolutely wonderful, folks. I'm telling you, go to Vegas, downtown Vegas, not the Strip. Forget about the Strip. Strip's fine, but you're going to see really cool stuff. Go to the Mob Museum. It's incredible. I mean, and it's not a deal where they're saying, "Oh, go join the mob." It's great.
No.
Not like that at all. But they give you a factual accounting of how the mob started, and what you were talking about just a moment ago with, we're going to close these schools. Well, you got to tell everybody, really? When you approach issues in that manner, I guarantee you it will backfire on you. And one of the things that they teach at the Mob Museum in Vegas is, prohibition is what fueled the mob.
Oh, yes.
So,
Yes. Well, at that courthouse, I wonder how much money changed hands between mob people in a courthouse. That could happen, right?
Unbelievable. There is a section where there's a little ditty, you walk down and the lights come on and somebody's picture will show up and there's a spiel about it. And it's like, and this individual used to show up with briefcases full of cash to pay for these judges to, it's priceless. So, but, a lesson learned in that, charter schools are a new entity unto the educational system. And, I sincerely hope that we have the quality of public schools that we had when I was a kid, when you were a kid, because they were great. And those public schools brought about the students who brought about the space program.
Yes.
And other incredible attributions to our technology and medical field and, other things. So, the public schools have turned out great human beings. And I think the level playing field, and I've said enough, so I'll shut up.
Yeah, we're doing, and look, we send graduates to schools all around the country. And also the push now also to not send everybody off to college, but to give them a vocation that they can use, and we're doing that too.
Yeah, weigh in on that if you would. That there is obviously amongst the Democratic Party a push to make community college and state-run schools tuition free. Do you ever see anything like that happening?
Well. The cost of tuition in the state schools here in Florida is really
it's very reasonable.
Best deal around. Yeah. All right,
especially if you get doing it when you're young, and you have your kids.
I paid my oldest boy. We were still up in New York, and he went to a school in New Hampshire, and then I had two girls who wound up doing college out of here. They went to Marathon High School and went on to college. I'd have to go back and add it all up, but my boy did 1 year in a school up in New Hampshire, and I think I paid more for his 1 year than I did for the two girls to graduate from FIU.
I bet your daughters were pissed about that.
Okay, graduate. When I'm saying graduate, now, part of that is you have a lot of dual enrollment and AP classes here, and both of my girls went to the community college, FKCC.
Right.
Living at home,
prepped it up, and then moved into the FIU.
And what I tell people to understand, some people say, "Well, I don't want to go to local community college." You know what? If you go on to Florida State or University of Florida or Florida International, and you have 2 years from the community college first, your degree doesn't say, 2 years from community. Your degree says you graduated in whatever field from Florida State University or the University of Florida, and you paid a lot less than if you went straight to the state university. And stay and live at home. I mean, I would recommend, and the scholarships available in Florida. Oh yeah, the Bright Futures program. Both my daughters got that. But I have to tell you, there was two levels. There was one that pays 3/4 of the tuition and one that pays all the tuition. The 3/4 one, you could be an average student. I mean, you don't have to be a superstar, okay? So I got to tell you, that the Bright Futures, and that's funded by the lottery system, okay? A lot of people say, well, what's doing with the lottery? The school districts don't get a lot of money from the lottery. I think we get probably about $700,000 in Monroe County directly from the lottery. So, but they also fund.
Is nothing to sneeze at.
But they fund the Bright Futures program, which has put a lot of students in a lot of colleges, and it's a great program. So all in all, and then between. If you can't afford it, you fill out the FAFSA, the free federal aid program, and that's, you don't pay back. That's not a loan. That's they'll pay you.
Grant.
So you don't have to spend $1 zillion to go to school to graduate and get a degree. And look, my youngest daughter. She went on to University of Florida and got a law degree, and I got to tell you.
She's doing okay.
She did fine. It was not a lot of money. She took that one on her own. She said, I'll take care of this. But it wasn't, when you hear these stories of people getting, they're $200,000.
Oh, yeah.
She didn't have anything like that. And she's got a law degree from the University of Florida.
That's a good thing.
So,
nothing wrong with that at all.
So I don't, everything is free, but you know what? Somewhere, somebody's going to pay.
Somebody's got to pay for it.
Somebody's going to pay somewhere.
That's it.
I learned a long time ago, there's no free lunch.
There is.
I've been around. I've been around.
That's my kind of guy. We are at about 38 minutes after the hour, folks. You're listening to the Florida Keys Real Estate Guys live on radio818.com. We're going to take a break. Harry snuck that music in there beautifully. You should be a technician.
Oh, no, please.
God, don't do that to me, please, man. I want to grow up and be able to die and be happy and stuff. So we will be right back. Please like us on Facebook. Stay with us.
I'd set sail right away. Destination Southern Shores. Throw my cares upon a shelf. Head on off for somewhere else where the weather's always warm. Alvarado, purple islands in the sea.
Florida Keys is a chain of islands known for its crystal blue waters, famous for sports fishing, world-class diving, and its laid-back atmosphere. Nestled between the Everglades National Park and the National Marine Sanctuary, the Keys are home to a precious and rare ecosystem found nowhere else. Here you will also find world-class dining featuring fresh from the dock seafood as well as other chef-prepared culinary favorites. Florida Keys has the feel of a quaint seaside village with a laid-back vibe, taking you worlds away from everyday cares. Stunning coastal-inspired homes line the shores of the islands, offering spectacular sunset views. Whether you start your day taking in the sunrise on your oceanfront veranda or heading out on the water for an adventure, the Keys has something to offer everyone.
Hello, Radio A1A listeners. This is Mykael Marinelli of American Caribbean Real Estate. Let me ask you, are you tired of the same old real estate agents doing the same old stuff the same old way? I provide a level of service that most agents can't, don't, or won't. Contact me to find your piece of paradise here in the Florida Keys, or to assist you in finding a great agent nationwide. As part of the Christie's International Real Estate Network, I've got a team of agents that can take care of you no matter where you are. So no matter what your real estate needs are, with 22 years of service, contact me, Mykael Marinelli, the real estate conch of American Caribbean Real Estate, at 305-439-7730, or visit me at my award-winning Florida Keys Real Estate and Lifestyle blog at therealestateconch.com. I look forward to working with you soon.
You've been coming to the Keys for a while, and you rent a nice place, but the rents keep going up. You know it's time to consider buying a home in the Keys. First thing, find out how much home you can afford. Time to talk to Jim. Jim LaPointe is your new Keys local lender. Easy qualifying, lowest rates, FHA, VA, conventional. Time to talk to Jim. Log on to radioa18.com. Click on interest rates. Rates change often, so check them daily. Time to talk to Jim.
Hey, Radio A1A listeners, this is Mykael Marinelli, the real estate conch, wishing you tropical vibes.
Keys, folks, it's that time of year again. You are running every which way you can, and it seems like you just cannot keep up. That's right, it's season. Not that season. Tax season. Hi, this is Mark Mills. For the last 10 years, Marshall Walker and his team at H&R Block in Key Largo, you know, the one over by the Publix, well, they have done my taxes through thick and thin. H&R Block has been there for me, and they have won my taxes. Let H&R Block in Key Largo, next to the Publix, get your taxes won. The end of tax season is nigh. Call now, 305-451-2562.
This is your Key West Honorary Mayor, Gonzo Mays, and you're listening to Radio A1A, music for the road to paradise. So damn the carnations, full speed ahead.
Okay, no Beavis and Butthead return this time around. Welcome back to the program. This is Florida Keys Real Estate Guys Live. Michael is taking a sick day, down for the count. Kind of a rough weekend. There's so many things I could say, but I'm going to let them pass. So, Michael, feel better and rejoin us, if you would, next week. Talking with John Dick, a member of the Monroe County School District School Board. Right. Now beginning your fourth term.
Right.
Holy cow.
Hey, Andy Griffith's been on there, I don't know, 8 terms.
I was going to say, I mean, Andy had been there a long time when I showed up in the Keys 20 years ago.
And it's not the Andy Griffiths.
No.
Not from Mayberry, right?
But there is a Barney Fife down there who never mind.
And this is Mayberry with good fishing, by the way.
Yeah.
No.
and a high occupancy rate at the guidance center, too. But,
Let me give you a little, before you go, I'll give you a little secret so you'll know this about Andy. When my daughter graduated from Marathon High School, Andy was the chairman of the school board that year. So diplomas are signed by the superintendent and by the chairman of the board. Mm-hmm. So I happened to look at my daughter's thing, and it said Kenneth A. Griffiths. I called Andy. I said, Andy, what's this Kenneth A. Griffith? Well, that's really my name. And, but you know what? He figures putting Andy Griffiths on the ballot, he feels is worth 5% of his vote.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because if you go in there, you're going to vote for the president or the governor or the senator, and you're not really tuned on the school board. And you get down and you got a choice between, Joe Blow and Andy Griffiths. Yep. Come on, Andy Griffith. What could be wrong with Andy Griffith?
Yeah, positive name.
Kenneth Griffiths, he would lose 5% of his vote. He wins very good every time.
Yeah,
so I know, but if his real name is Kenneth Griffiths.
Well, he's done a great job too.
Yeah. Andy's good, but he works every angle for every vote. He knows how to do that. I'll tell you that.
I knew a stand-up comic in Los Angeles whose last name was Hitler.
Ooh.
Rough.
That's
rough.
not good.
Yeah. No, I think he just. I think he changed it and he's selling insurance now.
Yeah.
Probably. So, we have gone through a number of things here, but one of the things I want to touch on, Keys is a tourist destination. Right. With a little bit of luck, some of those people come here, experience it from wherever they are from, and buy a home, settle down, they're going to retire, what have you. But a lot of folks come here and they still got kids in school. What's one of the main attractions that you can think of about bringing your kids to the Keys to educate
first
them?
of all, let me tell you, I did exactly that. We came down on vacation,
right.
and we saw a place in Marathon, Grassy Key, actually. Right. And my wife and I would look this, this really looks nice. We could, when we retire later on. Right. And so we bought a place, and we came down a couple of times a year for 3 or 4 years. But, I'd get on the plane in Miami and fly up to New York, and it would be rain and snow and this and that. And finally I said to my wife one time, I said, you know what? Let's stop going back and forth. And, and I had an auto repair shop in Brooklyn, and I had the ability, my partner had a brother-in-law, and so I could make the deal and sell, and I sold everything out. So we came here, and I'll lead to this for the question that you wanted. So at that time, now this is 30 years ago, and I said, well, we looked at the schools, and they looked good, but, who knows? We were coming from Long Island School District, is one of the top districts in the country, so we said, well, if we had to help out, my wife is a teacher. And so anyway, when the kids, the 2 girls went to school here, I will tell you back 30 years ago, they wound up learning stuff that they had learned a couple of years earlier. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I will tell you now, and it's not because of me, but I mean, I've been on this board long enough time now. That's no longer the case. This school district is top notch. Okay, they are. You're not gonna. You can come from any other district, and you can come in here, and you will be on par with what you were doing, if not better in some cases. Yeah, I'm sure there's some districts doing better, but we're top notch. We're sending kids to the top schools around the country. Mm-hmm. You look at our. The SAT, now, state's not giving me the information like they used to, but I will tell you 3 or 4 years ago, I used to check it every year to see how it was. Our SAT scores in Monroe County were very, very, you have to understand, we put a higher percentage of our students were taking the SAT than any other district in the state of Florida.
Wow.
So when you say if the highest percentage of your students, and we were like 78, 80% of our students were taking the SAT test and getting, exam.
That's high.
And some of the districts, it was 10%, 12%, 15%. But now you have to understand you have X amount of students. And so if you're testing 80% of them, you would think that your scores would be on the lower end. Because if you have a district that's only testing 10 or 12%, it's the top kids that want to go to college.
Right.
But when you're doing 80%, well, I'll tell you, even with us doing 80%, our SAT average was up near the top in the state of Florida.
Our scores were.
That's astonishing.
Scores are.
Okay, that's astonishing because you when you have the high percentage, it's going to drag you down.
Right.
But it didn't. So, and then look, let me tell you something else, which this is a wonderful thing. If you come down here to the 3 high schools and you want to play a sport, you can get on the team.
Yeah.
The schools are not that big. I mean, I will tell you, baseball in Key West is a little bit, baseball's king in Key West. So you better know how to play baseball real good if you want to get on that Key West team.
When the Marlins and Braves scouts come down here to watch baseball games.
Key West is king for baseball, all right? Yeah. But, if you want to get on the soccer team, the football team, and you can. I mean, there's JV, and so we have the sports for the girls. But And we just opened up the brand new facility in Marathon High School. That sports facility is astounding.
It's amazing.
All right,
it is.
And all of our facilities up and down. We'll be renewing the Key West, and we'll start on that probably next year. We did the infield for the baseball team, but it's so you've got good education. You've got brand new schools for the most part, or very recently new. They're safe. We have, I know what happens in some of those Brooklyn schools. We don't have that. We don't have any of the influence of gangs or any of that stuff down here.
Not
so
really, no.
That you can get in a lot of the big cities. So our schools are safe. And
I think that there are probably some kids in each school who like to think they're part of a gang, but if they ever ran into the real gang members,
believe me,
some
and I
wet
know.
bloomers in that
Right,
crowd.
I went to school in Brooklyn, and I went to school.
Of what you speak.
Way many years ago.
Yeah.
So,
John, as a parent who moved here 15 years ago, and I walked for the first time into PKS, which is Plantation Key School,
That
with
is
my
amazing.
daughter
Yeah.
and wife from the state of Alabama. The first thing that I noticed, you didn't smell anything. You didn't see any nasty things in the halls. You didn't see roaming, crazy things going on in schools. Probably one of the cleanest schools I've ever been in. And now that school has been replaced and is what? It's brand new.
Oh, yeah.
That is
Just
brand new.
opened.
Yeah,
That is
the
a
new
beautiful
school is beautiful, yeah.
We built the two schools that had just opened up this year was PKS, Plantation Key School,
Right.
and Gerald Adams, one of the schools in Key West.
Right.
Brand new schools. The only schools that we have yet to finish up, we're finishing up Switlick, which is the grammar school in Marathon, and then the only other thing we have to do is in Sugarloaf School, in Sugarloaf Key, is the grammar school section in the back. We'll replace some of it. Some of it won't replace because we don't need as much as was back there, but we will replace part of that. And that's it. We're done. We will not be doing any more school building. They will all be done. So you can send your school. And these buildings are rated to Class 5.
They're hurricane shelters.
They're hurricane shelters as shelter of last resort.
Right.
We cannot officially open up as
Understood.
a hurricane for 5.
Yeah.
Now, I stayed in Marathon High School for this Irma, and let me tell you, I slept through the whole thing. The only thing that happened to that school was some of the stuff on the roof, vents or things like that got blown off. But the school, you couldn't feel it. I've been in my house in Class 2 hurricanes, and you could feel the house moving. I mean, my house really got whacked in this one, but I wasn't there, thank God. But the high school, you couldn't feel anything in it. So I'm telling you, I would not be ashamed to go into any one of these schools in a Class 5 storm.
Yeah, that's and knock on wood, man. That's what you want.
Yeah.
So and we're coming down. We're about 8 minutes in front of the hour, so. I want to ask you about this, and I've kind of saved the heaviest for the last.
Go ahead.
With Stoneman Douglas, it's come very close to home.
Right.
School shootings. Have we built these target-rich environments, or are we learning? Is it getting better? Is it getting safer?
Yeah. Here's what's going to happen. Schools all around the country are working on this, and so are we, and I'm very satisfied with how far we've gone. But, what will happen is you will move it to something else, somewhere else. So they are trying to now and figure out who is the potential. Up in Stoneman Douglas, when the school shooting was, everybody said, it had to be, I forget the young man's name, but they all knew it was him because they knew he was going to do something like that. Right. Well, we have the ability now to, if we think somebody's along that lines, we can investigate, and if there's any issue, police can go there and make sure there's no guns in that house.
Law enforcement
so we have to do that because again, if somebody wants to shoot a lot of students, go to the park. We will make the schools safe, and so. But more important is to go for the reason of why they're doing this. and stop them from doing it elsewhere.
Easy targets.
They used to hijack planes. Now it's almost impossible to hijack a plane. But there's still things going on, and people do things. So they drive trucks through the downtown. Through
crowded marketplaces.
Right.
And
so
whatnot.
There's all sorts of things that can be done.
Yeah.
But I am very glad to see that the mental health part is strong, and the rules have been changed. They're allowed to say, hey, we think something's not right here, and years before you couldn't, you
didn't want to get
got to
sued.
wait till something happens,
Right.
and then which
It's
is
a
too late.
horrible way to run it.
So that's but our schools, I am very satisfied. We've got. There's still one or two we're working on the single point entry that, you've got a buzz to get into schools. Of course, the new ones, that's easy. That's they were designed that. We're redesigning some of the others. And some of the schools were built as an open campus type thing.
Right.
So we've spent a lot of money on fencing, and boy, it's, but we're almost finished with that. And
no, I like the way you just said that. We spent a lot of money on fencing, but, the thing is, because you hear people say this, oh, it's too expensive, we can't do that. And it's like, how in the hell do you put a price on any life?
Yeah, it's of course, there were some, that wanted to look like a prison. And, well, we don't want to have a prison. We don't want barbed wires on the thing, what I mean? But there are some people that, so we have to deal with the medium on it. But we have an armed officer in every school. And just as, there was some talk, would you arm teachers? No, we do not want to arm teachers. We voted against that.
Good.
We have the officers come because, God forbid you have something, but the last thing you want, and the police are very close to every one of our schools. They will be there in a minute. And so they want, if there's somebody's with a gun, that person's going to get shot. Okay. And
you don't want an OK Corral scenario going on with armed teachers and that type of thing.
And then where does a teacher keep the gun? Because you don't want a gun accessible that, so it's got to be locked up in something. And so if something happens, is the teacher going to be able to go over and get the gun and get? So, we were against that from the start, as was the sheriff and the city of Key West Police Department. They didn't want us.
I think that Rick Ramsey is kind of tillered a very common sense oriented ship there.
And they do drills in our schools, and our teachers and everybody has done active shooter drills in all the schools. So they
What's it like
plan.
To watch that?
Well, I didn't watch it, so
okay. Well,
but, I know what they do, and it's.
Well, we don't want to broadcast that.
Well, there's some things that we don't talk about that we don't say how we do, But schools are required to do these things now. They're required to do fire drills. And I don't see where, the fire drills, there's not much in our schools that would really burn down. They're the way they are now.
A lot of concrete for a building.
But
maybe a couple of blackboards.
Yeah.
And that's
you could get some smoke thing.
So.
I guess some smoke could happen.
No more duck and cover.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, I
went. Hide under your desk.
Yep.
That way your silhouette will be burned into the pavement. So.
Boy, did I do that plenty of times.
Yeah. Did you ever, like when you were hiding under your desk, look over at somebody else and kind of go, what?
Yeah, we did.
What's this? I got an atomic bomb is going to blow up over my head, and my desk is going to save me. I gotta love that stuff, John. 4 terms. You're going into your 4th term. I can't thank you enough for coming to do the program.
Oh, we're glad. I'm very happy to do this anytime.
Anything new that happens in the school district, please feel free to come back.
You can call me anytime you want. I'll come down here. I'm going to go on vacation now for 2 weeks. So I
get the school back in session and then hat grab, I'm out of here. I respect this man completely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
guys
John.
do a great job, and what you're doing here for the people in the Bahamas is fantastic.
Awesome.
And, because we know what it's like.
Yes, we do. Absolutely. So thanks again. Appreciate it, buddy. Take care of yourself. All right. Folks, that's going to wrap it up for another edition of the Florida Keys Real Estate Guys live on the radio and all those websites that we do it on. Harry's in charge of that. I think I'll defer to him next time. So, Mykael, feel better. Next week, another show coming up. I'm not going to tell you about it until probably Friday. So have a good week. See ya.
If I had my way, I'd set sail right away. destination, southern shores. Throw my cares upon a shelf, head on off for somewhere else, where the weather's always warm.